Hello and good evening. This is Doc Severson for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA trade of the day for Monday, the 17th of May. And finally, we have our swing test. So this level that I talked about forever being a very important swing test was finally tested today. And if we go down to an intraday chart, we can see just what kind of reaction that we got from this test. So first of all, a couple of them today, and both of them have led to very strong volume off of the bottom. So you can see that first test there, second test, an undercut, which I always like to see, pretty strong volume on especially that first test. So a lot of stops were taken out and perhaps a lot of limit orders fired as well too. Now, if you don't hear any panic in my voice, it's because the price has been in a very shallow consolidation pattern. So those that follow Elliott wave would probably say this is an ABC correction. We've seen the price come off the top and down in this level. Let's pull back and take a look at the fibs as well too. So if we take this entire swing, the entire enchilada, right? So let's compress this. And actually, I'm going to take volume out of the equation here. We're just going to hide the volume so we're not eating up the whole chart. But if we take the entire swing, which is going back from March of 2020, and let's look at the fib retracements of this guy. From start to finish, we can see that the price has come down to almost that 38.2 retracement, which is right where the swing test is. And this is what I've been going on and on and on about for the last few weeks. This level should hold, at least on the first level down. Of course, price can do whatever it wants to do, but I'm showing a higher probability of the price finding some type of support here. Now, what happens next is going to be really important because we'll get some kind of a bounce off of this level, more than likely. And then it's what happens next after that. So if we get the bounce, and then if it undercuts that, I wouldn't say that's necessarily horrible, but it's not as good as if the price put in a higher low and started higher from there. And this was my original intent was, man, if we get a swing test, we should have all kinds of volume coming in from people that missed out on this whole swing and say, okay, here's our second chance. Swing tests are very, very common. When you see a breakout that goes completely berserk, a swing test for that breakout level is often where the next swing will launch from. Now, if the swing test fails, where's the next level of logical support? Well, that would also be at one of the fib levels, say 50% or so, as well as this high volume node, which is down here centered around 34 to 35,000. And you'll also note that we do have kind of a notch here in the volume profile, which means that there's no support down here. So the only support that we have down here is this swing test level. If this does not cause the anticipated bounce from here, then the price will more than likely fall into the next volume profile. You can see that we had big volume profile here, big high volume node here. And typically when they fall out of there, they tend to bounce down to the next level. So am I saying that we're going to see 35,000 next? I don't know. I can't see what's going to happen in the future, nor does anybody else. All we're looking for is high probability confluence areas. And right now, again, until we see this broken, 42,000 or thereabouts should be a high degree of confidence towards seeing some type of bounce. Now, if this, once again, just pulls up to a lower high, then we're just not done with the pattern yet. But what's keeping me from being too pessimistic about this is just the character in which the price is moving. The character of the transition has been very mild so far. If we compare this again versus the 2017 top, let's reset this and go backwards here. See if we can find it. Got a lot of backtracking to do. way back here. Okay, so here we are. Here is the top from 2017, 17th of December 2017, and it immediately just started eroding. And within, it looks like about 2 months, we had trimmed down to way less than 50% of the high. So far, we've dropped about 35%. But again, it's the way in which it's happened, which I think is important. Now, the selling has been stronger on the way down, which is as it should be, because when we have lower highs set up like this in larger time frames, rising patterns will break to the downside. This is where everybody thought, oh, here's the next bounce. And this is why I was skeptical about that bounce, because we didn't have the volume on the breakout, didn't have the volume on the second try. And so far, we'll have to see whether or not we get the volume on this bounce here at 42,000. Okay, so that's what's happening in terms of Bitcoin. Let's also look at Ethereum, and let's see what's happening here. So Ethereum, what we can do is, I want to start the swing on the fib retracements from the most recent breakout. Now, there's any number of ways you could do this, but the price obviously was glued to that 2,000 level for quite some time. You can see the high volume node down here at 2,000, or in this case, 1,800 is extremely important. So 2,000 seems to me to be the launching point for this. And today we're going down to about a 50% retracement, which is pretty rapid. But again, what you'll normally see on corrections is it's going to be a mirror image of what got it there in the first place. If the price is going nearly vertical to the upside, it's going to go nearly vertical to the downside until it does find some type of equilibrium point at which to balance itself, which is actually kind of what's happening with Dogecoin right now. We saw the same thing happen here. Strong move, but it's finding its sort of balance point. When we have moves like this, it's going to have to consolidate for quite some time. And this is freaking everybody out because they don't understand how markets work, range expansion, range contraction, again and again. We do have some assets that are showing green today, which is still good. This is fine. Even Ripple is up today. So I'm looking at this whole consolidation and correction with sort of a tongue-in-cheek look at this thing like, okay, this is what has to happen. For you to have higher prices, you've got to go lower first. Take one step back to take two steps forward. We're just still going through that. And as long as we don't start to hit below some of the levels that I talked about with Bitcoin and Ethereum, then I think we're still in good shape. And this is ultimately heading higher still. But you've got to convince everybody out there in the retail space that it's done, that it's time to sell. And those will be the people sitting on the sidelines watching the price go much, much higher at some point and going crazy. All right. That's it for today's report. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.